Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Today's my guest is Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singh, Minister of State for External Affairs and Education, Government of India, for a special interview on the eve of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Sir, welcome to the ET government.
Namaskar.
So my first question to you, the Ministry of External Affairs under Project Ganga brought out thousands of families, including students, from Ukraine war zone to India. The students are concerned about their academics and education initiatives when they come back to India. Is there any plan from the ministry, or is there any suggestion that you would like to give it to the families and students?
No, actually, under the Honorable Prime Minister's advice, we are deploying our external affairs missions, and even the cabinet minister was posted to evacuate our students from different part of the Ukraine, and first our mission is that to save our students and Indians who are there. So we could achieve that this evacuation without, except of one or two cases which we could not save their life. Even their dead body we carried we brought back to to our country. So not only that, perhaps you also might have heard that even the neighboring country, they wanted to join our Operation Ganga. So we, as a humanitarian grounds, we offered them facilities and brought them. So now, after bringing about 19,000 students, and plus some other families doing some business, basically most of the Indian students are studying medical in the Ukraine. So when we brought back some of the students on the spot, asking to us what about our continuity of their courses. And at that time, some of the neighboring country of the Ukraine, they offer to admit that because the same curriculum is there, and only there has been some doubt among the students is that the free fee structure. Anyway, we said that first let us reach to your native place, and then we will discuss about the continuing of educations, particularly in their medical education. Then, the Indian system of medical courses is all India competitions, and also seats are very limited. Now, of course, our Honorable Prime Minister has already advised to increase the seat to meet the need of the situation. Then ultimately in the last budget session, many of the parliamentarians put many questions, or prior to that also, actually MEA, Minister of External Affairs and Education, who have discussed the matter thoroughly. In education, Shri Dharmendra Pradhanji, the cabinet minister, he is very active and he is very sensitive, and he said that we should address this issue. So ultimately last week we are able to circulate from AICTE and also the Government of India, the Mantralaya, that for medical education we have given some notification, and the online numbers are there. They have to register. At least condition is that 54 months course, if they completed, they may report to that online, and then we will arrange for the further studies in any of the institutions of India under this our country. And secondly, for general education also, that is also we have issued the latest circulation, and also requested all the heads of the institutions, either in the state governed or central institution, to accommodate some of those students who are evacuated from Ukraine. So I request all the concerned student as well as the parent should use our online the registration system. And also I appeal to all the directors of the institution to facilitate, as the government has decided, to accommodate all those the students who are evacuated from Ukraine.
How soon this issue will be settled or mitigated, sir?
Some of these students, they are already pursuing the things, and also some private medical college has already agreed. But only thing is that, you know, in India, some private colleges or institution, they want to have their own the fee structure. That also another condition in India. So we are trying to make the equal opportunity, and it should be affordable. So as far as the practicable after issuing, negotiating all this problem, I think we will certainly issue address the issue properly.
So since you hold education, I would like to ask another question on the education only. You belong to Manipur state. You represent the northeast region. Do you see a possibility northeastern state universities in northeast aligning with southern states or western states or other states in the country and abroad for academic benefits, for exchange of good practices? Some your views on that?
Perhaps we are all aware about the National Education Policy 2020. In one of the main structure of our national education is internationalization of higher education, and university basically for the higher education and research. It should be, and also it should be one of our prior approach to have a collaborative way of education. Since I was in the university or state university, I have some kind of experience, and also memories is correctly remind me that when I just joined to university as a faculty member under Manipur University, that time in the campus, more than 75% of the faculties are outside of the state, and we only 25%. And that is one of the ideal ecosystem for academic progress, because 75% from outside, they bring the vast knowledge and critical knowledge, and also we are interacting each other, and that's why the university was the best at that time. But slowly, I do not know the reason, throughout the northeastern India, each and every state is having one or more university. So ultimately, they confine to state itself. Same thing in Manipur, also confined to the state's interests. So education and knowledge should not be confined to a particular area. It should be exchangeable. Perhaps you might have remembered that Nalanda University long back, India was the only country having the university in those days, and more than 10,000 from all over the world coming, all over the world scholars are coming, and that gives the MoS the best kind of imparting education. So I hope, as you have mentioned, the national education policy has already pointed out to have a collaborative, and we should exercise the whole of the northeastern India's university should have link with other counterpart of other advanced the universities. Say, for example, Calcutta is more than 200 years, Madras 200 years, and the northeastern India's university, except Guwahati University, that was established in 1948 or 49. But 200 years ago, universities are scattered in all parts of our country. So that have a strong foundation of the higher education. We should have the opportunity of that strong foundation having collaborative idea. But the national education policy also have a criteria. It should be in the framework of the national ranking or international ranking. And see, otherwise, the host university may not be suited with the standard. So there should be a minimum national standard should be kept by all the university of the northeastern India, and so that the counterpart will also be equally happy.
Sir, I have few queries related to Ministry of External Affairs. We all know that deployment of technology is on the rise across the world. Our Ministry of External Affairs announced NEST division, New Emerging Strategic Technologies division. What is the mandate of the NEST division, and what has been your experience so far in this regard? Please, sir.
Yes, indeed, we established it in 2020, most probably December or like that. And then, particularly NETS division is working and to have in overall principles of the negotiating the emerging strategic the technologies throughout the globe, and that has to be negotiated and to make, particularly in our Ministry of External Affairs, we have to use in our diplomacy as well as in the mission works, posting at different part of the globe. So it's one of the most important the department, and we are looking forward to have a proper development on that issue.
So the division also will help collaborate with the foreign partners in the areas of especially 5G and artificial intelligence. Some highlights on the collaboration so far.
Yeah, actually, the 5G is the mandatory of the Department of Technology DOT, and the artificial intelligence AI is the mandatory with the Maitri, and that's why they are the sole mandatory unit to look after that. However, MEA and NETS is the collaborating all those issues, and we are the observing what are the technologies emerges to us. While we are using those emerging technology, we have to keep in our mind the national security and other things should have to be maintained. And this is the, at the moment we are preparing on these issues.
Sir, another issue, sir. Ministry of External Affairs is working on the external technology policy and also internal technology policy to basically to align international trade and aligning with the domestic responsibilities as well. In this regard, MEA, some of the outcomes.
We have a series of the brainstorming session inviting all the stakeholders inside the country, and what you call during this Azadi Ka Amrut, Prime Minister always insists about the what you call the self-reliance, Atma Nirbhar Bharat. So whatever technology emerges strategically all over the globe has to be keeping in mind that our the Atma Nirbhar Bharat processing should also be keeping the interests of our internal stakeholders. And for that, MEA is leading to have a leading role on having that protocols and others. And perhaps of late, there are about 108 or so the intending candidates are, 108 strategic technology is to be Atma Nirbhar Bharat, but that means Indian indigenous system to be incorporated to that. And for that, about near about 100 applicants of the country has already submitted their proposal and to that different items of the IT. For that, different sections of the DRDO and others, DST and the DVD, all these our group CSIR, they are sitting together and they have a committee to screen out what are the best should be taken up in the first phase. That listed is already there, and for that strategic policy is in the process.
So there is also a view that Ministry of External Affairs is working on HR building, capacity building in terms of technology initiatives, especially among the all IFS officers and also in the system and functions of the ministry. Some of your.
This is the emerging strategic technology is compelled to have more acquainted with all our foreign service officials. And in the meantime, but of course, our foreign service officials are already equipped with all these things because they were posted either in Russia or China or USA, and all in that places the strategic technologies has already rise up, and so we have to know it. But of course, after the opening of the nets, some of the specialized people of the nets, they thought that our foreign officials, of course, some were sidelining kind of the symptoms we have traced. But now the MEA, we are trying to impart whatsoever emerging the new strategy technology to all our foreign missions and foreign service officials to be acquainted with that strategy, so that they have to make a negotiation to other country also, and also to shape our the national interests.
Sir, another question related to MEE and education. Minister of External Affairs is broadening its, strengthening the ties with the United States of America, especially in education, because from India, each year, 2 lakh students go and study in abroad. Do you see similar strengthening of bilateral relationship with other countries also in education?
Yeah, but first of all, our Prime Minister is always giving emphasis on to strengthen our own universities and institutions. See, perhaps you know, in terms of thousands of students or lakhs of students go outside, the whole resources is drained out, and sometimes the finest brain is also drained out. So in order to check, even the scientists who were already in the other country under the system of Parvaris, the scientific community MEA has developed, and through that we are trying to pull back. So as a result, in the national education policy, I always refer, because national education policy of 2020 is the Bhagavad Gita for our future, the growth of knowledge system in the world. So we are trying to strengthen our own institutions, and over and above using the national ranking formula, the structure, and in the meantime, some of our institutions have to the highest level also. That's why it was 1 week ago, and there was a publication about the ranking of our 30 or 32 the items was recognized in the ranking of the world. So once our institution is improved and strengthened and in covering the national ranking at least hundreds or 200s in the global system, then our institution may also invite by foreigners. The offshore the institution may establish, and in the meantime, the foreign country the institution may also come to some of the premier institutions. So for that process is already in process, and we try to bring more students from foreign instead of sending more students to other country. This is one of the dream and one of the specific target oriented of our Prime Minister's advice to us.
Sir, you will complete 1 year in office in coming July. Some accomplished achievements in MEE and Education Ministry.
During this 1 year, most trust is given to external affairs. The interesting thing is that I am assigning with this whole of the Southeast Asia, excluding China and Japan. And since then, most of the embassy posted in our capital, whenever there is some kind of their national day, they always invite me. And they thought that I belongs to appearance law, and they thought that the same community, same affinity is there. So they were so friendly, and even in all the functions of they are sending some kind of messages to me. And in the meantime, the MEA, perhaps you might have well aware that, it's one of the best the Mantralaya, and inside this, the ministerial system, and the most decent culture is in this, the ministry. So even the word and even the joining the function, of course, at the beginning, I was so blind, no? Say, for example, of course, you may think whether it will be a proper place or not. The country which doesn't have the not good relations, if I join, or different countries are also having different attitude among themselves. So if I join to another country's the function, another will be reacted. So there is a lot of questions to performing the duty, and it built me myself on the cautious approach of things. And this is the best thing from the MEA. And of course, because of the pandemic, I'm not able to travel MoS. First, I traveled to New York about the exclusion and inclusion of the security problems. So I represent our country, our nation, and I deliver the Indian opinions under the leadership of Brazilian president. Then after that, I have to travel to Mongolia, and there our Prime Minister has already launched that the petroleum project, and first phase of petroleum project was already achieved, and second phase and the consecutive phases are in the process. So if it is completed, that is another strategic partnership. And on the other hand, our Prime Minister giving certain kind of diplomatic the offer. Say, for example, we are opening one friendship schools. Mongolian people wanted to study it because of the Buddhist link and others. So we offered them to have the friendship school. And another one is Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute of Technology. And after completion of that, at least with our country's effort, at least 8,000 students. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is also allowing to establish Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute of Technology at the campus of the Mongolian Institute of Technology. So we have started building, construction has already started, and by completion of this project, certainly we may able to provide at least 8,000 students within 2 years, or interval of 1 year or 2 years, we can employ themselves in Mongolia. And third one is that India is famous for our Unani, Ayurveda, Ayush. So I have a chance to make a groundbreaking for construction of one Ayurveda hospital in the Mongolian capital, Udan Bajar or something like that. That was my the second visit. And after that, others are yet, we are not yet. But I feel that at least after visiting the New York UN things is quite satisfied for me. And then about that, Mongolia, also very good example for our effort in the interest of our country and to bring more close relationship with them.
Sir, my last question, sir. You hold two very significant portfolios, like one is external affairs and education. We just started our financial year, April, for the country. Your priorities for this year from external affairs and also education?
My first priority in external affairs, I also assigned for 2 universities. One is Nalanda University, another is South University. Nalanda University infrastructure or hard structure is already achieved, 95% has already completed. But only tragedy is that the soft part is yet to start. As a result, this Nalanda University was initiated by 10 foreign countries, Asian countries, like the Vietnam, Laos. So because of our soft parts weakness, their interest is a bit retarded. So I want to gear up this soft part within this coming year. And ultimately, same thing in the South University also. The South University is a typical one. This is under SAARC, and you know, our neighbor countries, sometimes they do not like to extend their contributing share contribution also. But India is hosting, we are contributing a lot, and we are offering many scholarship. And that also has to be geared up to make a strengthen of our relationship. And over and above, I am planning to start the physical the visit to some of the Oceania island, and also to the Laos, Vietnam, and others, to bring that the strengthening. Of course, it is already there. You know that Ramayana cult is there, and the Buddha link is there, man-to-man link is there. And over and above, since I belongs to the state of Manipur, which is border with Myanmar, and we have an Act East policy with the Prime Minister's great ideas to have a connectivity with that. There are still the multimodal, the transit system is yet to complete, and there are other friendship road development and construction of bridges are still in the lingering position that has to be geared up. But ultimately, the Thailand side and other beyond this Myanmar side is already progress is there. Only in Myanmar, their political instability always hampered to our Act East policy. So these are some of the priority to strengthen, and then feasibly it should be working smoothly. That is my dream and my first priority.
This is a special interview with Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singh, Minister of External Affairs and Education, Government of India. Sir, thank you very much sharing your ideas and thoughts and a deep interview with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.